Hey guys, this is Eric Weingart with Weingart Racing. Today's video has very little tech in it. I'm gonna go ahead and warn you. For those that have just been subscribing and stuff, what I used to do was I'd have 3 videos a week, and the way they would work is Sunday was more a heavy tech deal, Wednesday was usually like a flow review, and Fridays, which is what this video should be, is more like a racing thing, whatever's going on with the either racing or something related to it. So for instance, like I call it an S10, and technically it is, but it's a GMC Sonoma's on the stuff on the front. Racing this or the Camaro, but I've also got another project that I'll show you at the end that I just acquired. That one should be pretty cool too. And that's gonna be neat. And I'll take your input on that, that's kind of cool. But we'll get to that at the end. Point being is there's not a lot of tech in this video. It's just pretty much about the S10. I'm gonna take it to the track tomorrow, and hopefully tomorrow, and we'll get to see what it does. And I'll tell you where it's come from and things like that. So if you haven't watched the channel and you're like, where did you mention it? I'll do a little recap first to get you out of the way. Before I do that though, I do want to say this. I was checking my YouTube Studio. For those that don't know, if you have a YouTube channel, they have this little YouTube Studio app, and it lets you track all the stuff from your channel. Anyway, I was tracking that, and it turns out I broke 14,000 subscribers. So I want to thank you for that, because I'm pretty shocked that I ever got this far. I never thought it'd be this what it is. And so I really do want to appreciate it. And I do thank all the guys that comment. And sometimes I guess I could be a little harsh, but I don't have a poker face for nothing. So you have to forgive me on that. And sometimes whenever people write comments, I know they mean it with the best intentions, but you can't communicate feeling through words on it as far as comments go. Seeing people face to face, you kind of know what they're meaning when they say stuff, but you can't from comments. So sometimes my mind instantly goes to negative, even though I know that's not what you're meaning. But I want to start off by saying thanks for watching the channel. And I want to give you some insight on it. When I started the channel, really it was just simply, I'll be quite honest, my son, he is not into cars. And it kind of breaks my heart, but he'll probably have way more money. But I wanted to keep some kind of record, so in case whenever he decides to get into it, he'd have some kind of information on the stuff that I had done. And so maybe if he wanted to get into it, he could duplicate it instead of asking me 10 years down the line when I might be too busy, or maybe I've forgotten some of the stuff, or he could just go back and look. That was how it started. And then of course, it way blew up bigger than what that was. A lot of great opportunities came with it. For those that are wondering, well, you must make a ton of money off YouTube. Really not. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I won't tell you the exact amount I make, but I'll say this. It's not as much as you think. And it literally, and I don't know if anybody else has mentioned this, but it got cut in half about November. So whatever I was making before, I'm making half of that now. And it's not because of the subscribers or anything like that. What had happened was, and this is my opinion on this, if you notice, YouTube, what they used to do is if you watched it on your phone or whatever, and you hovered on a video, it would show a couple clips from it, and that's it. So you got a general idea, but it wouldn't show you the whole video. Now, if you're watching this on your cell phone, you could just click the unmute thing, and you can watch it, even though it's really tiny on your phone, watch the whole video and never watch an ad. Every time you do that, we don't make a dime. I mean, we only make dimes anyway off the film, let's be honest, but you don't make anything when you do that. So I think that's what happened, because they went from just little clips so like, oh, okay, I want to watch, so I'll click that, and then you got to make it through an ad, so then we get, I think, a penny off that. But anyway, that would happen. But then they went from that to this, let's just put this, you can unmute it, and you can watch the whole thing without ever watching an ad. We don't make any money. I don't really know why YouTube did it. And from a viewer standpoint, it's really amazing I don't have to watch ads. But from YouTube standpoint, I don't understand why they did it at all. Because if you look at it, they make money off ads too. So not having them, but then I guess they have those sponsored ads as you scroll through. Then there's another one, so then they got paid, but we don't get paid. Anyway, it seems like a longer rant. But the point is, I'm not making a whole lot of money off this. I would make more money not doing videos and spend more time working on the shop stuff. But like I said, you guys, and really for my son, is the reason why I put out the videos. So I know it was longer, and I'm sorry for the longer intro. But let's get to today's video. So Quick recap of this truck. This is a Chevy S10. That's what the title says, but it's got the GMC stuff because my dad had a 91 GMC Sonoma and I put a V8 in it and stuff. Well, the body was so bad that I ended up getting another donor truck, which ended up being this one on used parts from the 2 trucks to make one. His was a GMC Sonoma and I wanted to keep that the same, so that's why it looks like that. Plus, I also think the GMC thing looks better to me. But anyway, that's what it is. The truck has a 355 small block Chevy, and it's got my Brodix ported Dragon Slayers on it, Brodix BM1000, saw roller camshaft. It's right at 11.9 to 1, and it runs on 91 octane. I don't put any octane booster in it, anything like that, or any race gas. It's 91 octane. It's got a 1000 CFM 4150 Demon carburetor on it, and it has lemon headers that are 1 3/4 step to 1 7/8 with a 3-inch merge collector. It has a 4 9-inch out back with 430 gears, and that's pretty much it. It does weigh, and it's heavier than most S10s, because I'll go ahead and tell you too, because a lot of people think S10s are light, and they are if you hadn't done what I did. The whole point with this was to street and strip, and I wanted to make it where it was a comfortable ride. So I actually added, you could tell, sound insulation in the doors and everywhere else. And that hush mat stuff adds weight. I'm telling you, it's kind of heavy. That's the reason why I did, is the sound. Other stuff too that I left in there that most people will get rid of if you're racing. Point is, it weighs a slight over 3,200 pounds with me in it. You could have S10s that get far lighter if you don't do that. It also does have a cage in it. So anyway, that's the basics of the truck. The truck has had a Sniper EFI set up on it, and I do use like a donor thing to record some of the stuff, like a data logger. The engine itself made 650 horsepower on an engine dyno, but I do want to say that because people like when you hear the quarter mile times, you're like, well, that ain't putting out near that much power. This I need to say, and it's probably not said enough. Whenever you see engine dyno numbers, what you're seeing whenever I say 650 horsepower and whatever someone else is saying, you're seeing the corrected numbers. So what you'll see is on an engine dyno, they'll run it, and whatever the weather conditions are at that point, there's elevation and all that together, and it's putting out some kind of horsepower number. The computer then corrects it to what it should be at a sea level, at perfect conditions and all this, and spits out a number. Then there's some other correction factors in there, such as friction and inertia, that can make those numbers go even higher. The reason why I say that is because, yeah, it says 650 horsepower. It will never show that here in Oklahoma at 611 elevation. Also, most of our weathers, most of the time it's above 60s, period. There will be a rare time where we can get to sea level or slightly under sea level when the weather is just like outstanding. But those are like unicorns and rarely happen. Point being is, it will never show that. But it wouldn't show it anyway because the correction factors vary from dyno to dyno. So some of them don't use an inertia correction factor, a friction correction factor. They just use simply based off weather. Then there's other, and I know this is probably going way beyond what you want to hear. There's other correction factors that also are with the different standards from SAE to standard to J607. There's a many. What I do know, and this is the reason why I want to record my dyno videos, I look at the screen and they have the uncorrected numbers on the screen. So if you look at the uncorrected numbers that this thing made, it made 523, which you're like, that's it? Remember, that's uncorrected. If you were correcting it up, depending on whichever correction factor you get, you'll get a different number. So, and that one, it corrected to 650. More conservative ones, based off just the weather, it's right around 600. When I did have the Sniper on there, you could calculate by the amount of fuel it used and how much power it was making, and it was making right around 600 as well. Now, did it run like it had 600 horsepower? No, because that's what this thing's about. From the time it started, it first run 1162 at like 118, which it's not slow, because everybody's got a fast and slow thing that they could say, but it's not quick to me. That's what it started. As time progressed, it's now, quickest it's been is at 1086 at 125. And you might go, well, what did you change? Probably the biggest change was the exhaust system. So before, I had run shorty headers, a full 2.5-inch exhaust system with some, their MagnaFlow knockoff mufflers, and it sounded really good. And switched those to the lemon headers. Now it's open exhaust. That was the biggest change of anything I've done. That one gained 4 miles an hour and 4/10. Huge gain. The carburetor, I went from a Sniper to the carburetor, gained more time there too. The rest of it's just been playing around. And all those times have been on a Nitto 275 6015. We're getting ready to go to the track tomorrow because here's what's been changed. And this one should make it more interesting. Up until this point, I'd been running on a Nitto tire. It's a street tire. That's why I drove it on the street. It's got grooves. It's not any race type. I mean, they call it a racing tire, but it's really not that fancy. It was a 275 6015. Now what I have on the back is a Mickey Thompson drag slip. So it's strictly a drag slip. It's 28-10-5. So it's slightly wider, but the biggest thing is it's slick. So it's going to have better traction, hopefully, because that was holding me back. And I didn't realize until we switched over to the headers that the headers, the way that it worked was when we put these on, it made so much more torque. So it was very hard for it to leave the line without spinning. It was a tap dancing act to make it happen. That's one of the changes. So traction could be very interesting. So being able to leave on more power will be nice. The second biggest change, and this one will probably be pretty huge, is the transmission. Before, it had a turbo 350 that was done by TCI, and it was their super street fighter. And if you watched any of my previous videos when I went to the track, that turbo 350 took forever to shift. I wouldn't say it was slipping, but it sure wasn't shifting right. I'm sure they would say it's normal. I pulled the fluid and looked at different stuff, and it doesn't smell burnt at all. It just, whatever reason, it just wasn't shifting firm. It had no trans brake, and that's what it was. The transmission that's in it now, it's a Power Glide from BTE. So it's got an aftermarket case. It's got 1-800 first gear, and it's should be nice. The thing I like about it, one, is it does have a trans brake. I love that. Foot braking, if you're a foot braker, dude, I applaud you, because it is so hard to leave on time with the foot brake. I'm sure if you get more practice, you get better at it. And when I was a kid, that's all we had. But man, trans brake, I love it better. I just do. But the transmission itself, it's rated at 2,500 horsepower. This engine isn't even near it. I'm still using the same torque converter that was in the TCI, because this has turbo splines, so does the turbo 350 that I was using before. It's a TCI converter, kinda. It's an 8-inch deal, but I had ultimate converters restall it, and it should stall about 6,300 RPM. And they redid all the stuff, put different Saturn stuff in it, so it's a much better converter. But anyway, same converter, just a Power Glide transmission. The biggest thing is it shifts when you shift, and I know it because I've driven it around. Driving it feels like it's got more power in final gear, because it will flat out kick the truck sideways if I hammer on it in the final gear. The Turbo 350 wouldn't do that. It might slightly chirp, but it sure wouldn't just break them. So that's going to be a huge change. It's got that trans brake's also kind of nice. The plan is going to go like this. I've got the trans brake set up with the first stage rev limiter, and I'm going to leave it at 4,000. And now you're like, where did you come up with that? The Camaro is another example of that. The Camaro, it also has the same transmission, and I leave it 4,000 even though the stall is at 63, because as soon as you let off the button, it's going to flash to 63 and then start doing it. I had played with the Camaro enough, so I did like 4,000, 4,500, 5, and 5,500 RPM. And it always went faster leaving at 4. And do I have a reason? No. I figured it'd be better if you left at a higher RPM because you're in your peak torque. Probably from the chassis stuff, wasn't allowing it to happen. So I'm starting at 4,000 just because I know the Camaro did that. I might raise it or lower it depending on how it does. And that's like we'll have to wait and see type of thing. The rev limiter is still at the same point, 7,800 RPM. I'm going to shift it at 74 on the first round. We'll creep up because I want to see how actually fast, and I know it does it instantly, but I want to see how much time from when the light comes on to when I'm shifting, see how much that actually is to figure that out. Before, like I said, it went at 1086 at 125. I have no expectations, because that's one of the worst things I think you could do, is have an expectation that it's going to be better and then just get disappointed. So it's best for me. I'm just going to, whatever it is, it is. I feel like it's going to be faster, but time will tell. Weather conditions should be pretty good tomorrow as well. Still going to be above sea level, but it should run fairly well. We'll get to see what it does. That's all I can say. I'll try to get the GoPro charged up and give it out a shot as well. But there's your plan. Now, for those who are wondering how you're going to log all this, like I said, I have a little. I've had several sniper units, but I've robbed the sniper computer off one of it, and it's still recording my O2 sensors and also the engine, of course, the engine RPM. And what I'm able to do with that is it'll data log the whole run, so I get to see how much the drop is between the shift, how far it flashes off the converter, and that sort of stuff. So I'll have some information that'll be helpful. Anyway, that's the plan. You're more than welcome to take a guess on it. But I will say this: the radial versus slick thing, the Camaro gave me some information on that. This was the previous motor, which was a 540 that was in the Camaro. When I had that, at best it ran was a 574 and a 129 60-foot time. That was on a radial slick. The catch with that was, the reason why it ran so good is because it was a private test session and they had prepped the lane for slicks. And I would, not sorry, slicks, but for radials. And I would love to go in a huge thing of why I think X275 got killed, was because one of the reasons was initially they said, well, let's do a 275 60-15. They'll have a harder time with traction, and then it will kind of level the playing field. They went from that to, now we have to prep the track so that the tire will hook up. And I don't think that's what initially was meant to do. And so they changed it to make it super, super sticky, ridiculously sticky. But anyway, the Camaro went that fast with that radial on that track surface. I tried several testing tunes, which is just a light spray that they normally do. It just wouldn't take it. And I tried several things. And maybe if I was smarter on the chassis, it might have, but it didn't. Switched to the slick, hooked up every time. However, it went slower by about a tenth, and it lost. It went from a 122 or 121 down to a 119, so it lost 2 miles an hour from the slick. However, that slick was 15 inches wide and much bigger diameter. So I do think maybe the radial versus slick thing, it's probably going to lose some ET there, maybe as far as the mile an hour. The ET should pick up because it's going to hook up. But there's that. Power glide should make more power too. But anyway, there's that. I want to show you some more things real quick. Here's the other thing I want to show you. I got my new helmet. Shouldn't say new. For those that watched the channel, you knew that I took forever to get my one helmet back. And in the meantime, I had this one sent off. Well, it finally got done. Now, for those that don't know, there's Venom, and then this is anti-Venom. So this is the one I'm gonna try to run in the truck. As you can tell, there's one issue, and it was my fault for not telling him better, but he's like, I'll put some vinyl graphics over the visor. It'll look really sweet, and you should be able to see through. And this is a see-through graphics, but I'll go ahead and warn you, I can't. Yes, you could see through it, but everything's fuzzy, so I can't. It looks amazing, but I'm gonna probably run it with the visor up. Let me see if I can get it to come up real quick, if I can find where it goes. Hold on just a second, sorry for the bad image. I'm probably gonna run it like that, just so I can see. It looks like I'm being eaten, which by the way, he still did it where the lines kind of go together, so it was like, that's not bad. So I'm gonna have to run it with the visor up because I can't see, although it looks really, really nice. It truly does, I can't see. But I never run with the visor down anyway. That's a me thing because it keeps fogging. It's probably because I'm, mouth breathing. A little bit faster. I'm just kidding. But anyway, I wanted to show you that and hope you enjoy. And then the last thing, I'm just gonna tag on some pictures. This is the new project. It's a Nova. It's ugly as sin. I'm gonna do another video later that we can talk about that because this one's long enough. Anyway, I hope that gives you some time and we'll see what it does. You guys take care.